folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Tammy coming to you live from my office. I have gotten up and had a shower. Um, it is wake and bake, so the no bra rule is still on, but I did get up and get a shower today. It is Monday. I was like, let me get this week kicked off right. I probably have to run to the store today to pick up a few pieces and parts to finish up these whoopie pies. I know that I need a specific thing, so I'm like, I need to at least get dressed today. And so I went ahead and got up and did that this morning on this fine Monday morning. As you know, it is 9 a.m. on Monday, which means we are waking and we are baking. I am definitely awake. I have definitely not baked. I have made a little breakfast, made a little coffee, and yes, I have packed a little bowl, but I have not partaken yet. Got up this morning, moving slow. These hands, as always, I'm always like, I look at them all my videos, y'all, and I'm always wringing my hands, and I'm like, I wonder how often I do that just in real life, trying to deal with it. Don't forget as you jump on here this morning, say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. Good morning, Heather. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Dennis. What is going on with y'all today? Um, I am uberly excited about the sweet treats we have on tap for this week. The new menu, I finished it up yesterday. And y'all, if you can't find something to elevate you on my menu, you can get elevated. I'm just being honest. If you cannot find what you need on my new menu to elevate, you cannot get elevated. Just being honest, because we have a little bit of everything now. We have a little playing with your order this morning. Um, Placing. Here, some people do play with their order, trying to figure out what they want. Um, my cousin is coming over today. So excited. So let's talk about some stuff today. So, for those of you that don't know me and you're new here, my name is Tammy. If you're new to my channel, hi. So, Hometown Hippie, and in general, like in general, the idea of creating something to kind of become my legacy. Hometown Hippie was born out of the fact that I could not birth children, and it's honestly the truth. Um, I grew up the oldest of three kids, and my mother and father were very entrepreneurial. My mother owned restaurants. Good morning. My dad was a farmer, and then he ended up driving a truck, and then doing other things. And he owned his own company. He was HVAC, kind of like a mobile home supply store. We've always been a very entrepreneurial family. My dad used to tell me, living in Farmville, he was like, you got to go to college, you got to get out of here, you got to do something, because unless you're going to work for the prison, work for the hospital, or work for one of the colleges, you're not going to make any money in this area unless you're going to own your own business. And he would always tell me that it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. Always having to hustle for a paycheck. But there was nothing more enticing to me. Nothing more that I wanted from I can't remember how long, than to be the boss, right? Be the boss. And it's interesting that as you evolve as a human, being the boss has different meanings, and it also has a different allure as you change, right? Has anybody ever, like, tell me in the comments, like, what was the earliest thing that you remember wanting to do with your like career? Like, when you're little kids, like, that's the stock question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Right? What was the answer that you had to that question growing up? What is it that you wanted to be when you were growing up? I would love for you to tell me. Good morning, Mel. Look, Melanie got her thing fixed so I can see her face and her name. I love it. So tell me in the comments, What was it that was your answer when people would look at you and get on your level, like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's so interesting because they would give you a list, like, I don't know. And they would always like try to like make you pick something that they wanted you to be like, do you want to be a nurse? Do you want, and it was interesting, right? Because I remember this and people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, I don't know, right? A lawyer, but I never quite made it. I'll tell you a funny story about that in a second. I love that though. Like you wanted to be a lawyer, right? Mel said, yeah, yeah. So think about it, right? And they would always ask the little boys, what do you want to be? And they're like, I don't know, an astronaut, a fireman, a policeman, a doctor. And little boys would just look at them kind of like, I don't know, a baseball player, whatever. And then they'd ask little girls, and they would go, what do you want to be when you grow up? A mommy, a teacher, a nurse, a secretary? And I was like, they would ask me that question. Like, I want to be the fucking boss. Like, I want to rule the world, right? Melanie's, it's so funny. Melanie's like, I wanted to be a cop, but I decided to be on both sides of the law instead. So I always knew that I wanted to own a restaurant. When I was a little kid, um, I'm a Gen X. I'm gonna be 48 years old this year, and y'all, my mom left me in charge of my younger siblings. I don't know. At 10 years old, was taking care of like my brother who's 5 and my sister who's 8. Um, and I was babysitting and feeding them, and we had house chores. We each had a room of the house we had to clean up. So yeah, so it was interesting because my mom and dad both worked outside of the home, and my mom owned restaurants. Right, my mom owned restaurants, and we lived on a farm, and my dad was right. He could see the house from the barn from where he was milking cows and things. So by the age of 10, I would be left and responsible for my siblings to make sure they got up, had breakfast, had lunch. This is during the summer. Usually during school, my mom was still at home in the mornings enough to get us on the bus, but as we got older, we get ourselves on. But even whenever I was like at 10 years old, it would be lunchtime, and my brother and sister, I had to feed them lunch. I would seat them, I would make them go to the door, and I would say, wait for your seat, and I would walk them to like the counter. We had an island, like a bar counter with bar stools. And I would set them at the bar stools, and I would actually give them the daily specials, which would be the things that I could make them for lunch. And pretty much every day, the daily specials were peanut butter and jelly, tuna salad, or a bologna or ham and cheese with whatever, right? It'd be the three choices of sandwiches I was willing to make that day. And then I would give them their choice of sides. And I would literally like say, and our choice of sides today are barbecue potato chips or Fritos. Like, and I would take their order and then make their lunch and then present it to make it look pretty and give it to them. And as I got older, because I grew up I think that's just the kid thing. We're playing restaurant. We played restaurant everywhere. Like if I was gonna like bring dessert to my family at night, like we had dessert and everybody's in the living room, we're watching TV after dinner, and it was time to get dessert. I'm like, I'll get it. I'm like, well, can I get your order, please? And I would go around to everybody, like my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, and take their order. Family reunions, I would take old people their food by like taking their order and bringing it back and making it look delicious and wanting them to eat it, right? So when I say I found my calling and that this is kind of my legacy, because again, um, growing up in a very tight knit family with entrepreneurs, um, I saw that like when people came into the restaurant, right? When they came into my mom's restaurant when we got older, because my great grandmother owned a restaurant and my grandmother owned a restaurant. It was a family tradition that people would say to my mom, they would the respect that she would get for the family legacy, the traditions of it, how she was keeping it going. Um, those are the things as I look back now and I meditate in the marketplace and I try to figure out why I'm so driven to do this, right? It's because it's been in my blood. And it's because I saw the long line of strong women in my family who in a time when little girls were being asked, do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be a mommy? Do you want to be a nurse? They were like, no, I want to be the boss. And they were the boss, right? They were the boss. A long line of women who no one mansplained things to. No offense. I mean, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not man bashing at all. Love men. Don't get me wrong. If you're watching this, you're a dude. It's all good. But I'm saying, like, for me, it was being able to see that. Now, whenever we got out of the restaurant business, when my mom decided to retire and I got married, my sister was never her thing. I was the one in the family. I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about this today in just a second. But my mom, she started having grandkids. And from, when I was growing up, I really truly believed, watching how she operated, that her greatest accomplishment was owning her businesses. That was, to me, that was my mom's legacy, right? That was my mom's legacy for years, is what I believed, was that the pride she had in her businesses, that was going to be her legacy, that she fed people and all the things. Now, as she retired from that and she got out of it and she started having grandkids, I saw that my mom's legacy had nothing to do with her businesses and her four walls. Now, did she adopt a lot of people that walked through those doors and gave them mom hugs and fed them when they didn't have money, and gave them great, solid, sage advice to get their lives together when they were maybe like Melanie, being on both sides of the law, right? Because you love the sinner and hate the sin, right? My mom was great about loving the sinners. And the sinners who didn't have a pot to, she would always say, they don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of, right? And so she was like, and those people need a little extra help, right? All they need is somebody saying, you can do this, and believe in them, and maybe a hot meal, they can get their lives together. And so it's always been a joy of mine to help those that maybe don't have a pot to piss in and want to throw it out the window, and making sure that if nothing else, they can have the one basic need met, which is food, right? But her legacy was her family. My mom's legacy was her family. And until, I was able to see her outside of a business environment, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. All the things she was doing was not about a reputation or being the boss. It was about leaving something for her family, right? She wanted to leave something for us. And she was always like, I wish I had money for this. I wish I had money for that. No, Mama, doesn't matter. So over these last few years, as I've kind of gone through this awakening, this journey I'm on, I realized that for me, not being able to have children has left a big, I have kids, don't get me wrong. I have stepchildren that I don't consider stepchildren. I love them like they're my own. But none of my DNA is there, right? None of my DNA is there. And for me, this hometown hippie is what the thing that I have created, that it's got my DNA all over it. It's got my genetics all wrapped up in it, right? That is as Tammy as it can come. And it is what I want to leave behind as a legacy. And today, my cousin is coming over, because what I've wanted from the beginning of this, as we've started to grow, and I knew I had to build it and all the things, but I've wanted this to be a family business, much like my parents' businesses, because they always employed family. Like my mom's restaurant, it was like a whole family affair. My cousin that's coming over, we worked side by side. She was there from start to finish with us. My sister, my aunts, my other cousins, my sister-in-law. Um, it was family, arm to arm, side to side. And all I have wanted to build this business is to build it into something that I'm really emotional about this. I want to build this business to leave a legacy behind. To I did not realize it's this important to me. Hang on a second. Speaking of which, my cousin's here. Give me a second. Do you let her in? Sorry, that was not my cousin. It was the dog raising holy shit because there are geese out there and she's determined. See her, come say hi, Chess. Come say hi to everybody. Say, I was determined. Come on. Come here. No. Come here. Come here. Say, I was determined. I say hi. Say hi to everybody. I was determined to eat those geese. Get down. Good girl. But so she is going to come over and she's thinking about maybe coming and helping me out some. We talked this weekend. She's like, I'll come help you out. But I really wanted this to be a family business. And every time I try to get my family involved, they have no desire to work as hard as I work, they said. Hey, isn't she a sweet girl? So today is a big deal for me because part of, you're already a legend in your own right. You touch somebody and you touch others. You know, I love you for saying that. It's not about me. It's just about the legacy and leaving something behind that lives on longer than you. And I wanted to create something that was generational for my family. I wanted to, I am going to create something that is generational for my family. Um, Good morning. I did cut my hair. I didn't cut it. I didn't cut it, but I definitely got it done. It needed to be done very badly and dyed and all the things. So, yes, I have a sassy bob is what we called it with curtain bangs. And I haven't had bangs since forever. But that is, today is a big deal for me. Today is the first family member who was like, hey, I want to come over and do this with you. I want to come learn and help because that's what this is all about for me. Food is family. Y'all are my family. Like, you are the Grateful Fed community. Um, it is weird that, like, with work, with business in general, it is, it's business. It's nothing personal, it's business. And I am very good at business and personal. Hometown Hippie is a whole kind of different thing. Like, I have never, ever, ever, and I am so emotional today. I don't know what it's about. I've never created something myself, right? All of the other things that I've ever been involved in, there's been collaboration and there's been somebody else. And I'm really good at helping other people with their stuff, really good at it. But this has been such and every y'all, every Monday I wake up and I come and I look to see what's in the order forms over the weekend. And every Sunday night I go to bed just petrified that this is the week that it all ends. I'm getting better about realizing that y'all are going to be here watching and that there's going to be orders and that everything is going to be fine and the business is growing, that all is well. I got my first commercial client this weekend. I'm so excited about that. But every week I get this little like thing in the pit of my stomach that this is the week that it all, like, everybody just decides that I have shenanigans and they don't ever talk to me again. And today was one of those days where I was like, my cousin's coming over. It's finally everything's starting to take fruition. Like, and I did what I tell you not to do, right? To trust in the universe, to trust in the divine, to know that all is well, that you are fully supported, right? That everything is fine. But my personality body, right? My ego has got me convinced, because the more that I learn, the more that I tell my ego to shut up and go sit in the corner, we're not listening to you today. The more that I do that, the louder it has been getting lately, right? The more I've been able to control it and keep my cool and all the things, and everything's been like, oh, right? The louder it goes, the louder that ego gets every Sunday night, like in the bed, like, you're not worthy, you suck, right? So all of those pieces of self-doubt that I help so many of you overcome, all of the times whenever I'm like, hey, what other people think of you is none of your business, right? I want all and each and every person to know that I understand that is so much easier said than done. I know that understanding that and living in that truth is hard, but you have to do it. I have to do it. I got up this morning, didn't even look at this yet. went to my bathroom, took a shower, put on makeup, and I was like, you know what? All is well, all is in divine time. Everything is fine. The order form will have orders on it. You did not spend all weekend doing all the things you spent doing and spending all the money for no reason. Everything is fine. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine, right? And I got up to Wake and Bake, and this form just opened, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people who have already over the weekend looked at things. There are people who are looking at it right now. I am very, very, very excited, and this is the reason I think that this week that it was such a pit is because I've been announcing that I'm using my own recipes. And so I'm like, nobody wants to eat what I make. They want somebody else's recipes. This magic stuff, right? When you are changing things, I increased the menu. So a lot of big moves happened, and it made me very insecure, right? Have you ever done that? Have you ever been very secure, and then like you were secure enough and then you made the big change, right? Maybe you were secure in like a house. Like this is a good example, right? Good example for this. You made the decision, you planned, you got everything done, and you started the big house remodel. And the day that you start the house remodel, you go, oh, what have I done? Maybe I haven't picked the right colors. Maybe I didn't do this. Maybe I didn't do that. Maybe this is not the right time to do it. Maybe the economy is not the right. All the things, right? That's what happened to me last night into today because of the big changes on the menu. Because I got a commercial client, because I am using my own magic, not just in the intentions I'm cooking in, but also in the actual recipe. And the insecurities creep in. I am a Libra. I have Libra tattooed on me. I am a Libra, and my sun and moon are like in Libra. I am as Libra as the Libras come. And tell me why that is. I would love to understand that. I do not understand like astrology. All I know is that Libras like balance and that we're people pleasers. I don't know any other like Libra E. I'm a Libra married to a Taurus. Like, I don't even know if that's toxic. I don't know the rules of that, like astrology and signs and stuff, horoscopes and stuff are not my. And let me tell y'all, I'm gonna use a bad language because another thing that's interesting, we talk about angels, gods, and helpers all the time, and my mom is definitely one of my angels. But I had my mom's brother passed away 2 years ago, my uncle Jimmy, and he was. You go, girl, gravel. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of this means. Can somebody help me? Can y'all explain in the comments? To the comments, right? Can y'all help me explain that? I don't know what that is. I need somebody to tell me what that is. I need you to explain. Please explain. So my uncle Jimmy, when you said that, or unless you truly are fine, if anybody would tell him that they were fine, like, how are you doing today? I'm like, fine. He would go, okay. And I was like, what? He's like, you know what fine stands for, don't you? And I was like, no, what? And he would say, the insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And so he would tell me all the time, you're fine, aren't you? I'm like, shut up. So that was kind of our joke about being fine, was insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So yes, I'm truly fine. Truly fine. Unless you're a Libra, unless you're truly fine. It is fine unless you're a Libra. Unless you're true. I am truly a Libra, so I don't know. It's fine unless you're a Libra. I'm like, I'm a Libra. What the fuck? Like, what do I do? What do I do? Now, as you know, it is Wake and Bake. Nice. I don't know what that means. I need somebody to explain to me what all this like. It's like, okay, you're good, right? I'm gonna hit this camera real quick because it is Wake and Bake, and it's no good if you got them. We're awake, now we're gonna bake. And I am puffing on some garlic breath this morning. When I picked up my commercial client, he has phenomenal, like Hulkberry, Northern Lights, but He gave me some, ooh, it is so good. Some, um, good, it's Katrina. Okay, Katrina. He gave me some, garlic breath. Heather, it really is. It really is. Mm. But I'm puffing on garlic breath and I'm eating an onion bagel with the cream cheese with chives in it. So good thing this is not smell-o-vision today because I'm like, oh, coffee, garlic, and onion. Mmm. Mmm. Which is interesting enough because, as you all know, right? As you all know, we are using the terpenes to cook our different recipes. Right now, we have a pound of butter that is what is the first pound of butter is Gorilla Glue. I have a second pound of butter that I processed that is Northern Lights, and I have a pound of butter that I have processed that is um, Hulkberry, Northern Lights, and Gorilla Glue. So we've got 3 pounds of phenomenal butter. Interestingly enough, the Hulkberry smells very much like berries when it decarboxylates. Because if fine because my mouth, I really don't mean it. Yeah, you're right on that. You right on that, Heather. You're right on that. I am insecure, neurotic, and emotional. I'm fine. I am fine. We are fine. Everything is fine. Um, and that's what I tell my husband. I'm like, he's like, hey, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm fine. He's like, looked at me. I was like, I'm really just, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll change it. I'm okay. I'm okay. I just need a moment. Because a lot of times, whenever you have chronic pain and like you move a certain way, and I'm like, you can see it on my face that I'm like physically in agony. And that's what my husband, like, he'll catch that. Like, what's wrong? And I'm like, and I'm tired of saying, I just hurt. I hurt, right? So instead of that, I'm like, I'm okay or I'm fine. It's kind of my go-to. But the Hulkberry smells so much like berry. So I made the butter and I tasted the butter and I'm like, that's delicious. Then I made Northern Lights and I thought the Northern Lights had a much more earthy scent to it in the bag. Very aromatic, very good smell, but a lot more spicy, right? And I was like, ooh, I'm going to use the Northern Lights to make the hot sauce and some more. I'm making some Italian dressing for me. So I need to use to make some oil with that too. And when I got that out of the butter out, I'm like, oh my gosh, it is almost sweet. It is delicious. So we're using the Hulkberry is going to go into our pineapple because that's already sweet enough, but it's got that berry flavor. So those terpenes will match well with the cherries and the pineapple. And then the Northern Lights we're going to use in the oatmeal and in the chocolate. So I'm excited about that. So those are the whoopie pies will be done with Northern Lights and Hulkberry. They are going to be super duper potent. They're pretty strong. We also have, as you see on the new menu, I've got coconut oil, and today I am making a tincture. And I'm actually doing two kinds of tincture. So the first one is going to be a processed cooked tincture, which is what we use for dropping and stuff like that. Will be the sublingual tincture. But I also have been doing a little bit of research on a cold brew tincture, and a cold or like a it's a very long infusion process. This is a very long infusion process. I'm getting ready to do with olive oil and with alcohol tincture. I'm doing 2 new tinctures this week, but they will not be ready for 6 to 8 weeks because I am doing um, a long cold process or cold brew, needless to say, tincture and oil versus a process through. Good morning, Dolores. So those things will be coming out soon. I am excited to see how those roll. I've never done them as a cold press before. I know lots of people who do like a cold brew, and it's really, really good. It's a lot more herbaceous, and it's a lot more, I think, for my savory cooking and my catering than it's going to be for things that you'll get. But we'll see. Because not a lot of things that you all get have olive oil, but I am experimenting with some recipes for olive oil cakes. So we'll see. Yeah, it's very interesting. So the way that you do a cold brew tincture is that I'm going to take a mason jar and I'm going to shove it tight with herb. So it's probably going to be about three. It's going to be a strong tincture. So it's probably going to be probably close to 2 ounces is what I'm probably going to put in there. 2 ounces of plant material into a mason jar. Then I'm going to fill it up, leaving enough room to shake it. I don't know what the QWET method is. I prefer that over the machine. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put it in the jar. I'm going to put it in the freezer or the fridge. And then once a week for 8 weeks, I'm going to pull it out and give it some love. You shake it and play with it and all of that. I have a friend that does that with oils as well, leaves them in a dark spot and does that for about a month and changes them and shakes them and all the things. So that's what I am going to do is I'm going to start doing these cold brew tinctures. And once I get this one going, I'm probably going to give it probably 2 weeks. And I'm going to start another batch behind it because I feel like that's going to give me as the number one, it's going to not damage any of the terpenes. I heard that it's very flavorful and it doesn't burn off any of your product. You're not losing any of your THCA because of that. So I'm excited about that. I'm getting there, right? We are a work in progress. We're a little bitty baby company turning into a big giant company one day. A big family tradition. Now, after I got all emotional today because my cousin was coming over, I told you all of that stuff because my cousin's coming over. I love this. I love this. Slow and steady wins the race. Yes, I am going to become the tortoise versus the hare because I have always been the hare, and I'm learning as part of like this calming of the ego, right? It's part of like that positive self-talk about, hey, you're going to be fine. You are worthy, all of the things. Part of that is also understanding that things are not at my pace. Things are not at Tammy's pace. It is not, I cannot control how the universe wants things to happen. And that I need to slow and steady wins the race. And honestly, I have been fostering this relationship with this new business that I have, the commercial client. I have been fostering this relationship now for about a month. And I told Red, I was like, I think that they were also trying to fill me out. They didn't know who I was. They were trying to make sure I was the real deal, Holyfield, right? Or if I was some because there's tons of people popping up. Y'all, there are tons of people popping up trying to do the whole thing. It's a good industry, right? You get to help people. You get to use marijuana and cannabis, and it's fun, and you get to make your own time and all the things. And I get a lot of people, I've had people call me and ask me if they could if I would show them how to do all the things. Because this is what one lady said to me. One lady called me and said, hey, I want to start doing what you're doing. And I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, yeah, I'm tired of my family giving you all their money for edibles and I want to start getting their money. That's what she said to me. She's like, I'm tired of my family giving you all their money, so I want their money. I said, well, what do you know about the industry? Well, nothing. And I was like, here's the thing. I learned it. You're welcome to learn it. If you start here's what I tell people all the time. I am not above helping anybody. I want to start doing YouTube channel and I'm going to start doing these things to show you how to do it. I get that, right? My husband, he gets so aggravated when people bring him edibles. People will bring my husband edibles. Like, what do you think? Tell me how this is. What does Tammy do differently? Because, they think he eats them. He's like, I'm not telling them what to do. And I'm like, sweetheart, if anybody wants to go out and do what I do, more power to them. I'm like, McDonald's makes burgers, Hardee's makes burgers, Burger King makes burgers, Carl's Jr. makes burger, Five Guys does burgers, and all of them have open businesses. Y'all are the grateful fed community. Y'all get edibles at other places as well as here. I mean, if you go to a dispensary, they've got edibles. There's companies in Colorado and California. There are restaurants. There's 1,052 freaking YouTube channels, right? I am not upset about it. At first your ego gets twingy, right? Your stomach goes like, a piece of you wants to like, that's what I do, right? A part of you. But learning and understanding, I'm going to come up here, right here. Slow and steady wins the race. I'm like, let me slow down. Yes, I'm going to tell you that's what I want to say, right? That's what I told Red. I was like, sweetheart, I was like, anybody can Google or YouTube how to make cannabis butter, and every single person could make it. Every person watching me follow it. It's a machine. Making the butter, not hard. It's time consuming. It's dirty. It's all those things sometimes, but it's not hard. I mean, it's literally, there's steps to it. People change engines watching YouTube. I think you can bake some fucking pot brownies, pardon my language, on a Monday morning, but it's wake and bake, y'all. Right? Dolores, I dabble for pursuits, my homegrown. Learned a lot of my own. It's a big commitment. It is a big commitment. And I do 15 pounds of butter a week, right? But like I told my husband, I'm like, people can buy edibles anywhere, but they can't buy Tammy's Magic anywhere. And I'm solid in that. I know the love that goes into my food. And that's what, it was so interesting. We have a guy my husband works with who actually has provided me some product. He gets a bad rap sometimes, right? He's a younger guy. He gets a bad rap sometimes because he's just hard around the edges when he wants to be. But he asked 3 different people. He said, what's the difference between mine and Tammy's? Because number one, people think the more pot you put in something, the better it is. Like, well, I'm making mine super strong. I'm like, that's fine, right? That is fine. Do it. That is not what I'm doing. I'm doing it for specific purposes, right? I have specific ideas in mind and I have a specific goal when I make a recipe. But he asked 3 different people, right, what the difference between his edibles and mine were. And they're like, Tammy's just taste like they're made with love. And he asked Red, says, what is Tammy's secret ingredient? Red goes, the only thing I know is what she tells me all the time is love. And that is the God's honest truth. Since I was 5 years old, making sandwiches for the old people in my life, asking them, what can I get you? And making sure that when they get it, it looks beautiful. And I remember even being a little kid and going to make my granddaddy a sandwich and thinking while I was making the sandwiches, like, I hope that my granddaddy enjoys his afternoon out on the farm mowing the fields. I know that he gets hot, and I hope the sandwich keeps him cool. And I remember even at that age when I would make my dad's dessert going, I hope daddy sleeps good tonight because I know that he was up last night letting cows in because they got out and he's probably tired. So, and I think back now, and I'm going to cry again because I didn't have a clue. Like when you start understanding the magic within you, right? When you start understanding it and then looking back and knowing like how many years you wasted without using your magic or how much magic you were putting into things and didn't even know, I remember that. Like I remember every time I made stuff from the beginning of time and not even realizing that mindset, that intentionality in my brain was going into the food. That's why people have always wanted to eat with me. That's why it's always been a thing. Like anytime we've had anything, well, can you bring this and can you do that? And can you, like, I would love to. And it's so interesting. Sausage and peppers to make for my dad with casseroles. Yes. It was made specifically for you. Yes. Yes. And so for me, do I make money off of edibles? That is how I pay my bills. That is 100% how I pay my bills. Now, do I send edibles out for free all the time? There's people on here who've gotten free edibles. I don't know if they're here or not. I have sent people free stuff, right? Anytime you guys had anything, I'd be on the way. Exactly. Um, uh, I am a kitchen witch through and through, and didn't even know what that was until this year. Had never heard that phrase until last fall. Never heard it, and then I bought a book, and I'm like, holy shit, no idea. That it matters that the energy in my house is cleaned out. Now, do I? Like I said, I make money, but that is energy for energy, right? Um, I don't feel like I'm overpriced because I went to a bakery and I ordered Red a birthday cake. This was last year because I was a bakery and I wanted to see what an unmedicated cake cost me and what I would get for that money. I spent $85 on a pineapple pina colada cake. No alcohol in it. Just it was the flavors of a pina colada. That's his favorite: coconut, pineapple, macadamia nuts. If Red loves anything tropical. And so I was like, I bake all this medicated stuff. I could make him a cake, but I wanted to go and see like what the flavors were, what the quality of the cake was whenever I purchased it from this bakery. It was $85, right? For a cake smaller than my pineapple upside down cake without medication in it. And it was dry, and we threw 90% of it away. And I spent $85. It looked gorgeous. It was this tall cake, straight. It was icing on the outside perfectly with the pineapple and all the rosettes and all the things. It looked amazing, but it tasted like shit. It was awful. And I don't mean that. I mean, I'm just being honest. It did not taste good. And it was really frustrating. And I'm like, I'm putting like in my cake, it's $175. So it's like $100 more. I'm like, but I'm giving you a delicious cake. And then I'm putting in like an ounce of like premium cannabis in it, right? So I'm like, I am not overpriced, like, because I worry about that. Like when it talks about like people like I want to make their money, and I'm like, I need to be able to earn a living and have the energy exchange, right? Energy for energy, but I am not trying to knock y'all over the head. I am not. I promise you. I am a small batch bakery. I can't buy 3,000 boxes. I have nowhere to put them. I have to buy my boxes, right? I have to buy my boxes 50 at a time, and they're like $5 a box. So every time I ship, it's like the shipping, I'm losing money on shipping, and I don't even charge all the full amount. So when people say, I'm tired of my family giving you all their money, I want their money. I don't my ego no longer is like twingy and feels mad because I'm like, well, you know what? If that is your intention, then I wish you well on it. If you would have said, I want to learn how to be a magical cook, I want to come learn how to weave in love into my food. I want to learn, and I'm like, I would teach that. But I am never going to teach somebody how to take somebody's money. That is not what I do. And so that's where I think that I like kind of like got myself lined up. And I told my husband's friend, I'm like, if you would like to learn my secret ingredient, and that is how to, weave love into something, then I will certainly do lessons on that. And that's the difference between the 16,001 videos you can watch on YouTube about, how to make gummies, because there's a million and one recipes, there's a million and one people doing it, there's a million and one personalities, there's a million and one beautiful kitchens and nasty kitchens and anything in between. Go YouTube it. It's awful. Yes. See, I've had dispensary edibles and most are garbage. Taste like frozen cardboard. And I got some edibles from the dispensary when my friend brought them. And Red is like, these are gross. I can't eat anything but yours. I just can't. And I'm like, I got you, baby. No problem. That's got some of my mom's energy on it. Let me say no, I thought you were saying like, the love is mom energy. And my love that I put in my food is very much mom love, right? it is the love I was taught by my mom. It was that, you want the best for everybody. And I don't have to knock you down to make myself feel better. I want to lift everybody up and pull you all up. And that's what I'm saying, right? It's the fact that if you want to learn how to weave love into something, then I'm the person to teach you. If you want to learn how to make edibles to take people's money, then I ain't the one for you. I am not the one for you. That's not what I got for you. Good morning, Lisa. I have honestly talked people out of $100 order and got them into a $5 order because it didn't make sense for the $100 order for what they were looking for. Honestly, like I've had somebody say, I don't use it. They ordered a dozen brownies and like, I've never used cannabis before. I just want to be able to like go to work and drop my shoulders and I love brownies. And I'm like, brownies ain't it for you, baby. Brownies is not it for you. If you have never used it, you want to be able to go to work and drop your shoulders. Let's get you a caramel. We're going to get you like 3 caramels, like try those and some gummies. Let's start there and move from there, right? So for me, it is always about the fact that I want, and it's not, again, I'm a cannabis concierge. I want to make sure that you're using the correct medicine. That's why I've got so much more options. I've got diabetics. I've got people on keto. I've got celiacs. I've got people who can't eat certain things. That's why I'm offering these raw materials. If you need coconut oil, use that to make your breakfast. Put a little coconut oil in your pan, scramble your egg in that. It's going to, number one, it's going to give you the perfect little knock off the edge buzz. It's not going to be too much. You're going to put about a half a teaspoon in there. It's going to taste delicious and it's going to do what it needs to do for you. So that's why I've expanded the menu and I've really sat down and I go through this request form. And when I talk to you and I email you and I text you and I ask you questions, it is 100% not to be in your business. But as your cannabis concierge, when you're looking for a cannabis consultation, because that's what you pay for is the consultation. Everything else is free. It's gifted because we can gift in Virginia. I want to make sure that you are not only eating the love, right? But before you even get the box, that I know how to put love into it. When I look at that, I'm like, well, there's people who need this. There's people that need that. Where are the gaps in my menu to be able to fill in the gaps for all of the people who maybe need something either a little stronger, a little lighter, a little different, a little better, a little less sugar, a little more this, a little less that. And that's why the menu is ever changing and ever expanding. So that's where that is. Now, again, it is all about intentionality. It is all about mindset. And that is what the legacy is. I love this. Heather's like, I quit using edibles for a long time until I gave you a try. I was a burn girl always, but now a whoopie pie or a caramel, I'm all my way with that caramel flour. Exactly. Can you fix rock hard? Dolores, no. So that's already set. So what you can do is you can melt them back down, but I would just use those as like a hard candy, right? Instead of doing that like a soft, chewy caramel, do it like a Werther's, right? Just use it to suck on and drop those in your coffee. If you throw them in your coffee, they'll melt like any other hard candy. And that's what I do with mine is I drop my rock hards because I make mine like Werther's. But you can always, any type of hard candy or sugar melted candy, you can 100% always melt it back down. And then as it's get it up to versus like 265 to 280, because that's how you get like a rock hard caramel is you let that go too long, right? The longer you cook candy, the harder it gets. It's like softball to hard crack to whatever. So what you're going to want to do is melt that back down and don't let that get to that temperature again. You're going to melt it back down on a slow melt. And then you are going to not let it let it get to like 230. And then you're going to put those back in your molds. That's how you're going to do that. Yes, so you can do that or you can melt them back down. Now, I will let you know when I have melted caramels back down, one of the things that I did the first year I was in business, before I was in business, I was kind of like alpha testers, people that I knew, like I did no advertising. It was just people that I knew that were cannabis users. I was like, hey, you want to try this? And they're like, sure. And I'm like, okay, let's try this. So I did my caramels. I did caramel apples. And the way that I did caramel apples is that I melted caramels down and then rolled the apple and the caramels and I melted down, and they did really well with that. So Dolores, yes, okay. So y'all, let me tell y'all, when I tell y'all the days that I have to do caramels and lollipops and Jolly Ranchers, when I say that you can Google and YouTube and do any of this, it's step by step by step, you can. But let me tell you, when it's a big commitment, I have equipment, I have thermometers, I have I've done it hundreds of times. And every time I do hard candy or caramels, I keep my fingers, toes, eyes, nose crossed. Candy is a freaking sign, and it's just the way I can't do candy when it rains. Like there are days, like it even says, like don't do it with this so much humidity in the air. The lemon lime lollipops, 3 times it took me to get those right. Elizabeth Jackson, her order was the last one. Like her should have been there way before somebody else's. It took to like this like Friday to get her order to her because she got some lollipops, right? Because I had to make the lollipops 3 times. That's why in the advent calendars y'all got that dragon glass crap, because I didn't know about humidity affecting my hard candy. And then if I screw something up, y'all don't even know. Like I to the Google, like to the comments, like to the Google. And I start like doing all the Googling. I'm like, candy makers, why would my candy do this? Why would my candy do that? What's going on? So candy is a science. And again, let me tell y'all how much of a science it is. Have you ever seen saltwater taffy, like at the shore, like when they're like pulling the taffy and they got the machines doing this or whatever? My husband has mentioned to me, I don't know, every time he sees a reel or a TikTok or a Facebook video of one of those like people making candies when they're like doing the ribbon candies and they're making the big lollipops and stuff. My husband is obsessed with watching those. Like, I'm not saying like he goes looks for them, but if one pops up, he's gonna watch it because he just. I think it's the whole like idea just watching it, like it's soothing and calming to him. If that man says to me one more time, you could do this, y'all. He is dying for me to just start doing pulled taffy on top of everything else that I do. And I'm like, with my hands and all the stuff I'm already doing, you tell me where in the hell am I going to have time to do pulled saltwater taffy because you've watched some videos or some ribbon candies. I was like, it looks amazing. He's like, with your creativity and the flavors you could put in stuff and all of that, it'd be so cool. You could make them. I was like, I could. I said, you give me a commercial spot, you build me one of those machines on the wall that pulls the taffy, you get me one of the heated tables, you get me all the equipment to do it and give me the space to do it and give me some time and I'll figure it out. I was like, but don't add anything else to my thing. Yes, that's what he's my husband's all about the art of it, right? But yeah, he was you can have taffy pulls. Yeah. I was like, no, sir. I was like, I have got enough. Candy is in its own right is just a whole hot mess. Candy is like hard. And here's the thing, like people love the candy. They love it. And I'm like, it's hard. And it matters. Like when I still out of caramels, I'm like, all right. And that's the one thing that like, I'm like, damn it. I was like, I am always out when I have to make those again. Cause they are like, they're calming caramels. They were the first thing I started with. They're the very first thing that I ever did. I could do caramels with my eyes closed. I stir the hearts into it the whole time I'm stirring, like I'm stirring hearts. Then I stir 4-leaf clovers for luck. And then I stir a heart, not just for love, but for health. I always do a heart for health as well. So it's usually a heart, a clover, a heart, a money sign. I just stir in all these things. I stir in happy faces for smiles. I will actually like stir it. I'm like, okay, drop those shoulders. Drop those shoulders. I do things like that so y'all will know when you get them. No, 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 no. That's fine. There are a lot of people's favorites, but that's one of those things that I run out of completely. I do make toffee, and I also make. I've just thought about it. I made them for like undosed, but and I did some this year in the advent calendars. I make the praline pecans, and I've got a ton of pecans in there. So I'm probably going to run some praline pecans over Easter because I'm going to do a lot of Easter specials. Everything that's on the menu right now is on the menu this week. And then we're going to see how they stick, right? The whoopie pies. I'm probably going to do a whole section of like the whoopie pie offerings because those are a big hit. And the cakes are there for catering, but the whoopie pies, that way you can get, your individual pieces because here's what I found. Whoopie pies freeze very well. They freeze amazingly. They defrost fast. Peanut brittle I do make. If y'all want that, I can do that. That's gonna all come. I'll come bring all that stuff out around Easter, I guess. But yeah, and I also want y'all to know that all of the wildflower packs for April showers boxes, I found this amazing company to partner with that actually work with the honeybees. And the packages all say be thankful and be kind and all this fun stuff. And it has little stories about all of the bees and the pollinators. And these wildflowers are going to go to actually help the bee population of the world. So I am super excited that I found this wildflower company.
Could you say that again?
No, I cannot. I'm super excited I found this wildflower company to partner with for the April boxes, but that's a whole other thing. Okay. On that note, interestingly enough, today I don't normally do cards. I do those on Sundays. We do our affirmation card. And Wednesday night, sometimes I pull cards. Good morning. I'm so glad Melanie's here. I am going to pull a card today. It's like kind of like a butterfly message. And I feel like there's going to be a message from this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because we are getting late this morning. And I've got to do some things. So now, while I'm shuffling these cards and we're talking about some things today, I want y'all to know that Peace, Love, and Feast Fest is coming along very nicely. Again, let's take a pause for the calls. Remember, smoke them if you got them. We're going to cut the camera off because I can't do it on camera. But Peace, Love, and Feast Fest is coming right along. It is going to start between 10 and 11. I have not gotten final things yet. On 4/22. If you have canoes, kayaks, get them ready. Our beautification project, if you would like to participate with the one here locally, is going to be cleaning up the Appomattox River. I am trying to get in touch with all of the Friends of the Appomattox to get them to come along. If you have a local business or know a local business that might want to jump in and be a part of this, let me know. I still have to pack. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know. If you are not here local to me, but you want to be a part of Peace, Love, and Feast Fest, please send me a private message or email me. And I'm going to give you the email address here. Hang on one second. I'll pull it up right quick. Let me go back here. I'm going to go over here. Overlay. Hang on. There we go. Okay, overlay. So if you would like to be a part of Peace, Love, and Feast Fest, you're going to email me at hometownhippie420 or hometownhippie420@gmail.com. You can also call me or text me. I'm sorry. You can also text Elevated. That's just to get on my list to 877-591-2031. But the easiest thing is either to private message me or to email me there so that you can let me know that you would like some information on how to have a Peace, Love, and Feast Fest of one or be a part of it virtually. There's going to be a virtual option. This is all about raising the vibration of the collective and helping the earth heal on Earth Day. This is 100% more about just sending heart energy to the world I am going to create these baked brunch boxes and 420 high tea boxes. And a part of the proceeds of those are going to go to Earth Day organizations. And I do want to work with this wildflower company that I'm loving. If y'all have any other organizations that help the earth, I would love to hear about them. Let me know. So let's go ahead and get our card pulled in today. We're going to shuffle this 11 times. While I'm doing this, smell the birthday cake, blow out the candles. We're going to drop our shoulders today. We're going to release our jaw. We're going to know that we are divinely kept. Everything is fine. All is well. Everything today can be handled with gentleness, ease, and grace. Stop if you're feeling overwhelmed. Take a big, huge, deep breath. Hold it. Release it. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Taking in all. We inhale the good shit. Exhale the bullshit, right? Inhale the good stuff. Exhale the bad stuff. In today's message card says, and I know the message for this immediately. It's a beautiful red. Look at that. It's a butterfly. It says end of an era. And end of an era, right? End of an era is this. We're ending the era of self-doubt. We're ending the era of self-questioning. We are entering a time of knowing and standing in our power, right? We are ending the time of not thinking we are good enough. We are ending the time of thinking that everyone else around us is smarter, is better, is faster, is all richer, is all the things that we are not. And we are knowing that we are the bomb. We're the bomb.com, right? We're in the era of standing in our power. It's the era of stop going to bed crying, worrying about your business being over because everything is just going to crash down around you. It's going to sleep knowing, right? It's going to sleep in the power of knowing that you are divinely kept. Can I get an amen? Hallelujah. Can I get some thumbs up, some hearts if you're claiming this energy? I want you just to comment for me in the comments, end of an era, if you're on board with it's the end of second guessing yourself, right? If it's the end of second guessing yourself, end of an era. I need it in the comments. Let me see it. And again, like I talked about at the beginning of this today, right? It is easier said than done. But standing in the power and knowing that it's taking the moment when you're starting to feel that when you're starting to feel that ego, when you're starting to feel that personality body creep up and tell you all the lies that it loves to tell you. You're not worthy. Nobody likes you. You're ugly. You're fat. You suck. Right? When you start hearing all that, it's the end of that. Like, no, that's not true. None of those things are true, right? Be careful how you talk to yourself because you're listening. Just saying, right? Amen. I love it. I want y'all to claim that energy today. I want you to know it's the end of an era. And, it's the end of not believing in yourself. It's the end of all of the things that, we say are easier said than done. It's the end of that. Now, even if we have to struggle through it, if you know, you know. Thank you. I feel you're speaking to me today. You should have watched the beginning, girlfriend. I was a hot mess. I want to tell y'all this. I don't mean to stop my train of thought, but it just came in. I was watching a video yesterday and I was like, I'm going to start, and instead of saying that I'm a hot mess, I'm a spicy disaster. I love that so much. I'm like, I'm not a hot mess. I'm a spicy disaster. But even saying that you're a hot mess express, like I'm a hot mess express. No, I'm not. I'm a spicy disaster, right? But what I want you to do is I want you to know that even if you start hearing that, right? Even because we're going to hear it, right? That's a t-shirt, right? I'm not a hot mess. I'm a spicy disaster with some little jalapenos or some like red peppers. Even if you hear it, right? Because we're going to hear it. because we can't completely squash it. And that's, you could become an ascended master, like for that ego just to be gone, right? To like squish it out. The difference is we're ending the era of listening to it. You can hear something and not listen to it. And y'all know if you have a partner or a spouse that sometimes they hear you but they didn't listen. They heard the words, but did they listen? Right? So it's the end of listening to that bullshit. It's the end of listening to that, right? It's the time to hear. It's time to hear the positive things about you that you need to know, right? It's time for you. It's the end of the era. It's the end of it. It's end. I'm done. We're done. We're done being the victim, right? It's the end of the victim era, and it's the time to step into the victor era. And that has been a recurring message here in this group, because I know that I have dealt with and I have worked with and I have felt your pain. I had a customer show up on Friday morning to pick up a big order. And when she was standing at my door, I could feel it before I even let her in, because I put sage around my house. Y'all come to my house, y'all's bullshit ain't coming into my house, because I sage my house. I like go around and I'm like, all the bullshit, get out of my house, right? Let's get all this out of my house. Then I go around my doors like, only that which serves us enters here. That's what I say around my doors. All of the entrances in my house, windows included, only that which serves us can enter here. And it's interesting because I'm going to tell y'all how interesting this is, because there are times when I have somebody coming over and I've saged my house, I've done all this stuff, and I've done that, and I will get a call from the driveway, or I will feel called to come outside. Now, if I meet you outside, don't think that I don't have any clue, but whatever you have with you, whatever is going on with you, right? Doesn't need to be in my house. And it's not about, maybe it's just today. Maybe you pick something up at Walmart. It's not about picking up something literally, but you can pick up little energy balls, right? People can pick up negative energy that kind of like scoots along with them. And I don't want it in my house. I don't want it to have, I don't need it here. So it's not a bad thing. It's just not mine. Doesn't serve us. It doesn't need to be in our house, right? And that's just what it is. And you might come to my house one day and walk right in the door. The next day I might meet you outside. Just depends. Certain things, I don't know. I don't even know when it happens. Like now thinking back, I'm like, that's why I meet people outside, because that which does not serve us does not come here. And obviously there was something that didn't serve us on that visit. No big deal. No, I'm not holding it against anybody, right? But I sage and I'm like, that which does not serve us does not enter here. And I want you to know that, right? And I want you to say that to your ego. That does not serve me. It's not going to enter here, right? That which does not serve me is not going to enter here, because it does not serve you to feel that way. So we're going to end the era of that, we're going to start the era of nothing that doesn't serve us is not going to enter. We're going to make sure that we keep all the negative juju out and keep all the good juju in, right? Felt a big energy rush. I'm going to encourage you all today, right, to know that you are loved, you are supported, all is in divine time. We talked today about legacy. We talked today about trusting and knowing and standing in the power. We talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that. I want you all to know that there is love, there's luck, there's abundance, there is all the beautiful things the universe has to offer, just there for the taking. We are coming out of the winter, which is the hibernation time, the germination time, the time to be still and to know. And we're moving into the time of springing and blossoming and new leaves and a new life and all the beautiful things spring has to offer, including the allergies that comes along with it, right? So I want you to go out. We're ending the era of winter. We're ending the era of that, all the negativity. We're entering the new phase of beauty, growth, sunlight, all the things. So as you go out into the earth today, I'm going to encourage you to do it from a heart space, to give yourself mercy, to give yourself love, to give yourself grace. And when you give it to yourself, you're going to project that onto the rest of the planet. Don't forget how other people think about you and all that stuff. It's none of your business. And if people are being nasty to you today, it's because they're having a nasty time. Um, so just send them love energy back. There's so much to be grateful for. Just look around you. Exactly. There's so much to be grateful for. And there's always a way to pattern interrupt. That pattern interrupt might be pop in a caramel, drop your shoulders, like mind over matter. This is my favorite saying, mind over matter. If I don't mind, you don't matter, right? If I don't mind, it don't matter. So mind over matter. And that's a lot of what the elevated edibles and the hometown hippie treats will be able to allow you to do today. Allow you to do in this place you're in. Number one, it's to help you feel your best self, to drop your shoulders, to get that cortisol level down. It's about being able to smile a little bit more, because it's really hard to be angry when you're smiling. And it's about being a little kinder to those around you, because again, it's hard to be an asshole when you got a buzz. It just is. And if you are, then we got to talk more. We got to do a bigger consultation, because we got to get that off of you. Because there's a lot more going on. But I was going to tell you, I had a customer come over Friday. I could feel her pain. I could feel her pain. And I thought about her all weekend long. And I thought about what I could do to help her, right? And I thought, and I thought some more. And I was like, you know what? The only person that can help her is her. All I can do, right? Because that's like the complex you get when you start helping people. Like, what do I have to do to make it better? And I realized that I gave her the tools. I gave her the conversation that was given to me, and then what she chooses to do with that, and how she chooses to go forward with that. And then that was a lot of what we talked about, like the planting the seeds, right? I planted the seed. It's her job to germinate that and to let it blossom as spring is sprunging. I'm hoping that if you're watching this today, because I know you watch sometimes and don't comment, and I know that you know who you are because I've messaged you this weekend to check on you and send you some tools. I hope that you will stop listening to the nonsense, right? You can hear, like, you're not respected, you're not this, you're not that, but I want you to know that you are. And if you're watching this, I love you. And this group, I want y'all to send some hearts. Can y'all please like pound the hearts for me to send this customer, this client, this Grateful Fed member, this heart energy? One of the things that a lot of us talk about is that she was like, I said, you know, this is what I picked up. I was like, I feel like there is a sense of distress because so many of us are so unhappy with where we are, like what we're doing, how life is going. We're miserable in it. And if somebody goes, well, what do you want to change? And they can't answer that question. Like, what do you want to do? And they have no clue. And then it makes me go like, I don't know what I want. I just know this isn't what it is. And I'm like, that's what I was picking up. And she's like, exactly. Can anybody else relate to that? Like, I'm not happy in my life, but I don't know what I want. Like, I don't even know what happiness looks like. Like, I don't even know how to describe what I want. I just know that I don't want this, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you. And I feel like this message is for somebody besides the person I'm talking about who came to my house and I told them this. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure right here for somebody who's like, oh, she's talking to me. Is this. Decide that you deserve better. Define what it is that you want. And then we will make the decision to get you there. Okay? Deciding that you deserve better, and that's what you've done. Like, that's step one of your discovery journey, right? That's where I was, and that's why I wrote this whole class that I have, y'all. It's ridiculous. Like, I channeled this, and it was literally I have it right here. It's the 4 Ds, and I'm gonna tell you, it's I have so many my ingenious ideas courtesy of cannabis. This is my high journal. When I'm stoned and I have great ideas, this is where I write them down. And I'm trying to find my list, y'all. It's important. I don't know. I can never find it when I want to. Oh, here it is. DDD program. So it's here. So decide that you deserve better. define what it is that you want. Then you have to design the way to do it, and then you deliver on your promise to yourself. Yes, and that's what I say all the time. Um, you can never become who you want to be until you can till you can define who it is that you want to be. And the first step is just deciding that what it is right now is not working for you. And that is kind of like how I've kind of outlining my journey, right? My journey started with I just knew that I needed something more. It was something was missing, right? And I decided that I deserved happiness, that I deserved happiness. And then I'm like, well, what does happiness look like to me? I had to define it. So that's what I was trying to explain to her. I was like, the first step is it's just you having to make the decision. And you know what that is. And then you can do the shadow work to decide what it is that's going to make you happy. And I was like, a lot of times it's just starting with one thing. For me, I started with my diet. I'm like, here's the one thing that I can control. And it kind of just, it went from there. Just my journey went from there. So if you're watching this today and you're feeling that way, because, I had that's what this is all about for me, is helping people figure out what they want, what you do want. Figuring out what you do want, right? Yeah. Figure out what it is you do want. I wanted to be healthier. I knew that that was a big thing. I was tired of being sick. And that's why edibles are such a big deal to me, because there's so many people right now that get stuck on opioids and can't think clearly to be able to get out of that pattern of just sleeping, eating, and being miserable. And so for me, the edibles were a big way to, I did not want to be on opioids. And that's what the doctors were prescribing for chronic pain, was pain management. I'm like, no, I'm not doing opioids just to keep me in this constant struggle. I'm not doing it. I will not do it. My brother is sitting in prison for 28 years because of opioids. Period in a story, because of opioids, because it was a slippery slope to addiction, and it destroyed his life and the lives of his four children. And my family is still destroyed and upset over it. And there's a whole story behind that, but that's for another day. Already been an hour and a half. Oh, I gotta go. I got things to do today, y'all. I'm gonna get these invoices done. If you have not checked out the new menu, please click on it, give it a check out. Make sure to comment on what you're most excited about. Everyone who comments, when we get to 50 comments on that post, I'm gonna do a spin the wheel and decide for a free prize. And you never know, when you win, you might get the thing you're most excited about. So make sure to go comment, check out my menu for me, share with friends who are 420 friendly over the age of 21. Help me grow my business. I appreciate you so very much for that. More information coming on Peace, Love, and Feast Fest. I promise. I'm still working out details, but 422 Earth Day is the day it's going to be. If you want to be local, take the day off. Get prepared for it. We're getting it done. It's going to be something. If you're out in the world and want to be part of it, make sure that you message me. And don't forget, it's the end of the era of listening to nonsense. We're going to step into the era of love and peace and believing in ourselves and knowing that we are all divine creatures and that everything is going to be well because we are protected. Thank you all. I love you so much. Don't forget, peace, love, and feast. That's my feast. And stay elevated. I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good one.